When it comes to playing a sequel, there's the hope that it gets better either with improvements to the mechanics, graphics, or controls. If you're lucky, then all of those will be refined. Miles and Kilo, developed by 4 Horses, returns with much needed changes from their previous game. Now that's gaming. First off, let's start with the story. Miles and Kilo are flying across an ocean before being confronted by a ghost named Ripple, who proceeds to destroy their aircraft, sending them to an island below. Not only that, but the plane parts are stolen by these 5 bosses you'll eventually and hopefully defeat unless you want to live on the island with Ripple for all eternity. Yeah, no choice. I really think that Kilo is a pretty neat addition to the game. This cute dog doesn't have any dialogue, but the way Miles interacts with Kilo gives him a personality unlike the first game. There are silly dialogue and interactions between worlds, and half the time Miles is left alone when confronting the majority of bosses or levels. It seems he can't catch a break even to sleep. Poor guy. Even though the series has a story now, what about the gameplay / design? Does it improve? Oh man, take a look at it. The game has received a graphical facelift, and one I think separates it from mobile games and other 2D indie platformers. It really gives the game its own character while staying faithful with the earlier designs from Kid Tripp. Miles and Kilo doesn't look like a cheap shovelware game, and I am glad 4 Horses took the time to update the look. Alright, let's talk controls. This time around, you have the option to control Miles by either auto run like the previous Kid Tripp or full control, allowing you to move left and right. You can also jump, throw fruits, and duck under obstacles. A few changes like having to collect fruit to replenish ammo and the addition of hazards to watch out for makes it feel different but at the same time familiar. If you weren't a fan of the auto run in the last game, there still exist levels where it's mandatory. All of the stages where Kilo is playable goes into this mode, and some levels will add on auto run at certain parts. With that said, the developer did a good job balancing the game for both auto-run and non-auto-run segments. The mix between these two adds a unique challenge of having to be ready for anything that comes your way. There are 2 modes, the main story and time attack, that you unlock after beating the main game. There's 5 worlds, each with their own visual themes, and this time around there is also a level select, similar to Super Mario Bros. 3. A much needed upgrade from the bland level select from the previous game, and the developer even added small touches to the map that tells you which type of level you'll be heading into. An example of this is the small caves to represent the underground theme. You can also see how many times you died, beat a level, and even your timer, which is pretty cool. Time attack allows you to play through the game while it adds up your time through each level. The thing is, you can't go back, so you'll have to make sure you do your best in that level before moving on. The level difficulty scale feels a lot better than the first game, gradually getting harder instead of some levels feeling way off. That's not to say you won't have a tough time in some levels, particularly the second boss timing was tricky at first and took many tries before I found out the correct strategy. That falls into memorization and a lot of dying. The game throws stuff at you to mix you up or to make you fail, so it all comes down to remembering and retrying again and again. This might turn you off from playing it, but once you do learn to get through a level without being slowed down, it feels pretty fantastic to get awarded with a beautiful S rank. Then you have the sound design. Like the first game, there isn't really any song that stood out to me that I wanted to hear again after I stopped playing. The most memorable musical piece was the title screen and maybe the first level. When it comes to the sounds of enemies, it's very similar to Kid Tripp, where mostly everything you hit or interact with will make a sound. There are some enemies like the bees and butterflies where they don't have any flying noises. I wish there was further work put into giving more enemies sounds while moving, but I could see it being distracting since you do run by a lot of enemies in the first place, so you really wouldn't get much of a chance to hear it. For the price of $7.99 US, I would say that if you enjoy a challenging but fair platform game that will last you around 2 hours for the first playthrough, and then a few more if you like to go after achievements or fast completion times, then yeah, give Miles and Kilo a go. Really, the only bad thing, in my opinion, is the length and auto running, which really comes down to personal preference, but if you don't mind those, then this game is a solid Nindie title. Question of the day. Have you ever played an auto-run platformer? If so, which one? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to discover something new, then consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with many neat indie games I come across each and every week. Here is a playlist of other reviews I've covered so far that can get you started. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.